How's it going, everyone? Welcome to episode 32 of the ControllerCast. I'm joined, as always, by the one and only Senor Andrew Eisenhower, and then also the librarian, the Rocket League god, the Rocket League prodigy himself,
I
the
don't know.
man, the man, the pro player in the making, Jonathan Bradley Whoop. How's it, how's it going, guys? How's your week been? John, how about you start us off?
Yeah, I can definitely start us off. So I've been doing really good. Earlier this week, I actually got some Christmas shopping done. So that was really good because I feel like it hasn't really felt like Christmas over here in Omaha until it snowed just recently. But other than that, it's been like unseasonably warm. So I felt kind of like out of the jolliness of Christmas a little bit, but got some Christmas shopping done earlier this week. So I'm like kind of back in the mood. There's lots of Christmas presents under our tree now. So we love to see that. Definitely been ramping up my Christmas music and movie listening and viewing. Been listening to a lot of Christmas music this week. I highly recommend, if you guys haven't checked it out, or if anyone that's listening likes Christmas music, you have to listen to Sia's Christmas album, Every Day is Christmas, because every song on there is a banger. There are no skips. It is literally the best Christmas album of all time.
But what about what about the Justin Bieber Christmas album? Is that not better?
Yeah, how dare you disrespect Whole Lot of Red like that, asshole?
Oh, true. Whole Lot of Red is probably the best Christmas album, but second place is Sia's
I
Every Day.
consider it the best album that's a Halloween themed album that was released on Christmas Day.
Literally, Vamp Anthem. Come on.
I mean, I would go as far to say that A Whole Lot of Red is the greatest album ever created.
Definitely the best album of this decade or last, easily.
I know, ever since I've been alive,
The
like,
greatest album of the 2000s.
I would 100% make that claim.
We need a Whole Lot of Red is basically what we're saying.
My plan actually after this episode is to go get like a Whole Lot of Red tattoo on my ass cheek.
Yeah. But seriously, if you haven't checked out Every Day is Christmas by Sia or Whole Lot of Red by Playboy Cardi, both out. You will not be disappointed by either of those albums. We also watched the Christmas Chronicles. I think we watched the first one last week, and I mentioned that in the How You Doing section. This week we watched the second one. And then we watched this movie that's like, have you guys seen the Christmas movie where they're stuck in an airport? There's like these kids, unaccompanied minors.
Yeah.
It's not good. I mean, it's okay, I guess. It's very much a early to mid 2000s movie. Yeah, it very much feels like that. So if you enjoy those early 2000s like pacifier kind of feeling movies, then you'll love it.
Pacifier? What does that even mean? Pacifier.
Have you seen The Pacifier with
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I was
Diesel.
like, what?
Yeah, Vin Diesel. I was gonna say The Rock for some reason.
The prequel to Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, literally.
Pacifier.
But
Is there a scene in the movie where there's a montage of some kid wearing clothes and walking out of a closet, and the other people are like giving him fit checks?
not quite, but basically yes. They go into like this room where there's a bunch of unclaimed baggage or whatever, and they're all like trying on different clothes and like dancing, and there's it's an early 2000s to mid 2000s movie, and it definitely feels like it. And
I saw a TikTok where
like going back and watching something like that today, it just feels like it's starting to feel its age. I love that shit growing up, but it's definitely starting to show its age.
That Disney Channel type of movie.
Yeah, just the Disney Channel early 2000s montage kind of, I don't know. It's slightly enjoyable, but Unaccompanied Minors,
Slightly enjoyable. That's a
like
good recommendation.
it's like a 6 out of 10. I would not recommend it. But
This,
if you do like that kind of shit, it gets taken off of Netflix December 31st. So I would watch it before then. Just to know.
especially probably quality has dwindled since we've been like on top of watching like all these classic movies and all these like high tier movies.
That's true. That is true. So it definitely doesn't compare to like anything we've watched recently. Definitely not. It's not even close. So other than that, I've been watching a lot of the Rocket League Championship Series, which is, yeah, I mean, I'm a Rocket League whore. What can I say? Played like 700 hours of that game. And now I'm already at like pushing 15 hours on the mobile game, which is
Mobile.
ridiculous.
Time to go mobile.
Time to go mobile.
John's a fucking got games on your phone ass motherfucker now.
See, the thing is, I'm investing a lot of time into Sideswipe because there's a tournament coming up where you can make 50K. And if I could find someone, Andrew, maybe.
But are you gonna make 50K?
No way.
Yeah, you know who you would have to beat?
Yeah,
Probably
you'd have to
some
beat
guy.
like you'd have to beat like NRG and like yeah, FaZe Clan, FaZe Backham. He's one of the bosses.
Yeah, there's really no chance. But if I could climb the ranks in Sideswipe and get that grand champ screenshot, that would just make my day. But I don't think I'll be that good. I don't know. It's it's fun. Like I would recommend anyone that has a phone. So
Wow. That's only like
Every
10%
single
of the
living
people
human
that listen to this.
anyone that like needs a good phone game, I feel like should download this game because it's like the best mobile game I've played
Got
probably
games on your
ever, honestly.
Greater or worse than Infinity Blade?
Actually, Infinity Blade is amazing. But they didn't optimize it for the new phones, so I can't go back to it and play it again. So I would say it's a lot better than Infinity Blade at this point. And Infinity Blade is kind of one of those like Dave and Buster ass. So
Even bust your
Buster.
ass.
it kind of fell from greatness. But I'll be watching the finals of RLCS probably after this podcast, actually. The semifinals are NRG, FaZe Clan, BDS, and Semper Esports. So it's
EDSM.
basically it's North America. It's literally, it didn't even like, it wasn't meant to work out this way, but the brackets ended up being North America versus EU. So it's like legit, it's going to be a European team versus a North American team regardless. So that's kind of cool, I guess, the way it worked out. Other than that, Casey and I watched the Spider-Man movies last night. We watched No Way Home and Homecoming. Homecoming's the first one, and then No Way Home.
You mean
And
Far From Home?
They never, in the MCU, they never explain how Peter Parker gets his powers. They literally never explain it.
Probably because no one wants to see that explanation again. He got bit by a spider.
Yeah, but like he doesn't have the wrist web shooters like Tobey Maguire, so I figured maybe they could just do a quick like, yeah, I got bit by a spider and now I have
Spider crawled up his ass.
I think the reason they avoided it is because the Andrew Garfield movies got a lot of flack for like repeating the same points as the Toby ones. So maybe that's why they avoided it. That's my guess.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I feel like Tom could have just said like, yeah, like when he was talking to his buddy that he first told that he was Spider-Man. I wish he would have just been like, oh yeah, I got bit by the spider at, I don't know, somewhere, wherever it was, because it doesn't explain it. But besides that, those movies are fire. And obviously, I'm pretty sure a lot of our listeners watch the MCU and keep up with like superhero stuff. So if you haven't seen them, definitely watch them, because I think the most hype movie probably of the year, definitely of the
Definitely
year,
of the year. Yeah.
Spider-Man No Way Home. And Ursula and I are both going to be seeing that day one. So we're going to be reviewing that next episode. So that'll definitely have heavy spoilers, and we'll make sure to like note that when we put out a post. But really excited about that. And watching these made me a lot more excited for it. So
Which one do you like more, Far From Home or
I like Homecoming a little more.
Same.
Because I think Far From Home, like, Mysterio's fine, but he's not my favorite villain. It was kind of just like I mean, not every superhero movie, and definitely not every MCU movie, needs to have this world-ending threat. But I mean, Peter Parker fighting drones was kind of like eh. But I liked Homecoming a lot. Like that's a classic.
I liked Homecoming more because it's got more of that high school movie feel. Speaking of like high school movies, like I feel like Spider-Man is like Homecoming does it pretty well.
It does. It really does. And the villain in Homecoming is like, you almost don't mind him. Like I didn't mind him. I was kind of like rooting for him in the beginning. Like he had his contract taken and could have lost his house and stuff. So I like it. I like it a lot. But yeah, highly recommend watching those before seeing No Way Home, because it's like I watched the first minute of No Way Home and it's literally a direct continuation off of Far From Home. So
You saw the first minute of No Way Home? Where?
it's on YouTube. They just like Sony released it like yesterday or 2 days ago.
Shit.
Yeah.
I'm behind on the curve. I also need to watch Hawkeye, so I'm behind.
And you don't really need
How dare you disrespect Jeremy Renner like that, you asshole.
I mean, episode 4, as they do in every episode 4 of the MCU shows, it kind of drops some crazy shit, but it wasn't that crazy because it's Hawkeye. So
I already kind of like have an idea of like what they've shown just from tweets, because you can't.
You probably know exactly what it is then.
Yeah.
But that pretty much wraps up how I'm doing this week. And we got those from Redbox, so we have to return some videotapes. But that's it. That's really all we've been up to.
What about you, Senor? How's your week been?
Yeah,
Give us
mine
the full
has
breakdown.
not been anywhere near as eventful as John's, but
Well, it wasn't that eventful.
me and Jordan are just getting done with school and everything. Coming to Arizona on Wednesday to see Ursula, so we'll be hanging out with him next weekend. So I'm just glad to be able to get the fuck out of Omaha for a little bit finally. Even though I guess I was out of Omaha like 3 months ago, but and that you can never be out of Omaha for too long.
Where'd you go 3 months ago? Was it Florida? Or am I tripping? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I guess it would have been 4 months ago, and then Colorado right after. So, yeah, so we're pretty excited for that. Dreading the early morning flight, but it's whatever. If you're trying to save money, early morning flights are definitely the way to go. But what else did we do? Oh, we saw House of Gucci on Tuesday.
Yeah, how was that?
It was a pretty good movie. I mean, it's like based off real events, so like it's hard to like critique anything in it really, because it's like that's the movie had to be that way. It's like historical movie, but
What's
it
it about?
was pretty good. It's about like how like Gucci's like broke down as a family business into like just like a regular company, and then it like kind of went into detail about like the last Gucci member to actually own part of Gucci, like how he was like how he came up and was like he married this lady, and then she, spoilers, hires a hitman and kills him. So it's like it's a really long ass movie too. It's like 2 hours and 45 minutes. It's like super fucking long.
Damn.
But it's got Lady Gaga and Adam Driver in like the lead roles, and then fucking Jared Leto is just this fat Italian dude. He's like, he plays like the most ditziest dits on the face of the earth. Like his character is such a moron, and Yeah, he like I guess I'll go in this. Do you guys care about spoilers?
Yeah,
No,
you can
go
spoil
ahead.
it.
I'm never gonna watch this.
Okay, so Jared Leto's character literally like sells his shares of Gucci to like be able to afford his like chicken farm. Like just some like completely like ass face decisions. And I mean I know it's like based on a real person, but it's just funny that like Jared Leto is the one that has to fucking play this ditz ass character.
I wonder
Jared-
what type of method acting he was doing. What type of obnoxious
yeah,
method
I don't
acting he
know.
was doing
He
on
was
set.
probably just like eating
Farm
Gucci
for
belts for breakfast or some shit. I don't know. But
eating,
yeah, he was just like slicing up the belt, just eating it
eating
every morning for breakfast.
Have I ever mentioned that I hate Jared Leto?
I think you may have on the pod.
Because one, I heard like when he was Joker, he did some stupid shit, like he like gave everyone on the set like dead pigs or some shit.
He
like
sent him
dead
like dead
animals.
frogs or some shit.
Yeah. And then for Blade Runner 2049, that dude wore like contacts that made him blind. I'm like, bro, you're in this movie for 5 minutes. You don't have to go this fucking hard.
Bro, why do you have to buy contacts that make you blind? Just cover your eyes, bro. Like what the fuck?
Methods. I don't know. He gets
Yeah.
movies.
I wonder what he did for the movie we're talking about today.
Ooh.
He actually died.
he just printed millions of business cards. But other than that, we what else did we do this week? I guess I was just working all week, so that sucked ass,
Plank
but
slaving away.
yeah, yep.
Working out? You've been doing
Yeah,
that.
working out. Yeah, we've been going to the gym at like 11 p.m. the past 2 nights. So like our Friday and Saturday nights were just like working out. I don't know why. Seems
That's
chill, but yeah, it was kind of nice.
Night workouts are fun.
Yeah, they are. They are. Let's see. I finished Brilliant Diamond this week, so just doing some of the post game.
You got a score on that?
I give it a solid 9. It's because Diamond and Pearl are not like they're like the original ones I played, but they're not like my favorite overall. I like Heart Gold and Soul Silver a lot more. Those are like straight 10s for me. But these games are good, and I'm not going to give it like a worse score because it didn't change anything or I didn't like the art style, because I actually like the art style. I mean, they're just the DS games on the Switch, so there's really nothing to really complain about. So I give them a 9. Now I started Pokemon Black on Friday, so gonna work through that game next. I might just go in order until I get back up to Sword and Shield.
Is Pokemon Black a DS game?
Yeah, it is, and it came
Probably
out
the best
after the
ones are on
3DS
DS.
came out. Black and White and Black 2 and White 2 all came out after the 3DS launched, which is kind of funny.
There were direct sequels to those?
Yeah, they actually made direct sequels, which is kind of unorthodox. But Black 2 and White 2 are considered like the pinnacle of the series because it's like had like the best like story and art style like mixed together. So I don't know if I'll get those though, because just like a cartridge is like $100, but I might definitely not emulate that because that's illegal.
Yeah, you might definitely not do that.
Yeah. Other than that,
Did you get Diamond on physical or digital?
I got Brilliant Diamond on digital.
Nice.
So I'm gonna keep playing it. I just need to take a break and just play another fucking Pokemon game, I guess. So but I might take a break because I don't want to get too invested and then like go to be on vacation and just like not give a shit when I get back. So I'll probably just wait to keep playing until I come back next week.
You can sideswipe with me in the meantime.
Yeah, I know.
Bring your Switch.
We'll work toward that 50K tournament.
Yeah.
Hey, Switch is a good airplane device.
Oh yeah, but I was talking about like Black on my 3DS. I don't want to bring my 3DS with me. I look like a fucking dweeb on the plane playing a 3DS.
Who's this boomer?
Yeah, who's this fucking boomer playing a fucking 3DS? Other than that, yeah, that's my week. Arsenal, what about you?
Yeah, so I kind of want to build off one point of early morning flights that you mentioned, Andrew, because yeah, those are fucking terrible. As uh, listeners have probably gathered from some of my updates. I've flown a lot in the past year, like probably 20 plus flights at this point.
Ooh, you got to get
but-
one of the Southwest credit cards,
Do
I
dude.
you
know.
have a TSA pre-check yet?
No, I seriously, I still fly like a noob. But I need to get one of those. I need to get both of those, honestly.
I
Yeah.
don't have it yet. I don't fly enough though. If I flew as much as you, I would definitely invest in it because the security lines fucking suck.
But yeah, my flight back from Houston, which is my most recent flight, it was a 6 a.m. flight, but I had to get dropped off to the airport the night before. So I was there in Houston Hobby Airport, which is like the secondary domestic airport. And this dude next to me, I was trying to take a nap at the airport, and this dude next to me was like like pissed off. He was like yelling. He was like blasting like Sway Lee, and he was like doing the like hitting the nay nay and shit. I was like, "Bro, what the fuck is going on? Huh?
Was he on drugs?
Maybe, dude. This dude just to imagine the bully from Toy Story 1
Yeah.
as a 60-year-old man. That's probably the best way to describe this dude. And my God, I passed out at like 1 a.m. I woke back up at like 5 a.m. and this dude was still blasting music, doing like hitting the nay nay and like crip walking and all this crazy shit. Like,
Surprised you felt comfortable enough to fall asleep next to this guy.
yeah, I was. I was just honestly, I was trying to stay awake, but I was sitting in a reclining chair, and the rest was history.
Fair.
But I woke up and I was pissed, dude. I was like, what? I wanted to get up and be like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, dude, it was so ridiculous. I'm like, I mean, I guess maybe this guy is the main character, man. He can just do whatever the fuck he wants. But that was my little building off of Andrew's early morning flight situation. But besides that, my week, I've been playing Halo Infinite just because the campaign finally came out. And is it the best Halo game? No, but that's like a impossible standard. But is it better than it's probably the best Halo game since like the Bungie Halo games. And it's really fun. The campaign is really fun. It's like open world now. And honestly, the thing that makes it super, super fun, it's like the one example of like one game mechanic transforming an entire fucking game, is there's this grappling hook in the game. And you can use it to literally attach to anything. And it kind of reminds me of like Breath of the Wild, because there'll be these mountains that are just like straight vertical, like just straight up, and you can just keep zip lining up and around them and swinging around. It feels like you're like a fully armored like Spider-Man with like an assault rifle. It's so fun.
That's cool.
Yeah. John, I would recommend trying it out. I mean, because you have a Game Pass, so you don't have to pay any money. So I would recommend it to anyone. It's definitely a really well-made game. And I would say I'm about like halfway through the story. I'm still playing through it, but yeah. So in terms of gaming, that's what I've been doing. Might have a more complete opinion of the game next week. But besides that, I also saw the Kanye West and Drake live stream concert. It was for freeing Larry Hoover, which is funny because Larry Hoover is like pretty much like El Chapo. So it's funny why they want to like free him, but like that concert was a really awesome experience to see. I would recommend anyone that is a rap fan of in any sense to watch the video. Is still on Amazon Prime Video. You can find the whole concert on YouTube. It's like a very cinematic experience. Like the cinematography, I think the person who filmed it was the cinematographer of Joker. So there's some like really like amazing shots of these guys like performing songs. And first of all, Kanye's set was fucking legendary. Like one of the probably greatest sets like performed in a concert ever.
I saw some clips of it and it seemed insane.
Yeah, he did. And it was kind of crazy because I think he focused a little bit more on some love related songs. And it's crazy because so many of these songs are before he even married Kim, but they just fit so well with his ongoing situation with Kim K right now, like Runaway. And then he also he covered Find Your Love by Drake, so he did that song, which was really good. And then Drake's set was a bit of a come down, I'm not gonna lie, because I think everyone was expecting Drake to also go through his like career hits, because I was argued that Kanye and Drake have probably the best discography of like any two rappers out there. So it was kind of disappointing that Drake kept it to like his newer stuff. But one of the probably the highlights, probably one of honestly, some people are saying the top moment of the entire show was Drake covering a Donda song, 24 off of Donda. He did his own like song version. He like pretty much covered the song, and pretty much everyone was like, bro, this is better than the Kanye version. Like, can we get can we get this on streaming, this version of the song? And pretty much like everyone's like the golden timeline would be if we got a Drake album that was produced by Kanye. That would be amazing. But the rest of his set was kind of hit or miss. Like Drake's actual performance, like Kanye's, both of them performed really well. It was just that some of the songs, like for Drake, like bro, we would have loved to hear Take Care songs, or like Nothing Was the Same, or View songs. That would have been really great. But also one of my personal highlights, hearing In the Bible live.
In the Bible.
Yeah, just hearing that.
That of all songs.
He did what?
He performed In the Bible of all songs. He could have.
I know, right? But it is funny because there's all these majestic shots of him like singing in the Bible. But
I need to watch this.
And then the other highlight was at the very end of the show, they both performed Forever together, which Forever is like probably a top 10 rap song of all time.
One of the most iconic.
Yeah. So, fingers crossed. I mean, at the end of the day, it was still a fantastic experience. Like I would say, like if you're bored, like it's like an hour and a half watch. It's a cool little piece of cool little concert. I think it could have been like an all-time great if Drake's set list was also like running through career hits, but it is what it is. Still a really cool show. Besides that though, nothing really crazy. That's kind of, I've been playing like the new Warzone map. I got into that with my friend Fawad. Fawad, if you're listening to this, shout out to you. But yeah, that's pretty much been my week between those three things. But moving on from there, another thing that I was also watching, while I was playing Halo, and while I was actually waiting for the concert to start, because it was right before the concert, was the Game Awards. So the Game Awards happened going right into current events. Game Awards happened this past week. It happened on Thursday night, I believe. Yeah, Thursday night. And we're just going to kind of run through some things that stuck out to us, I guess. I guess I'll kind of run through some of the announcements, and some of the things that I think are worth talking about. One, first off, they actually announced that they're making a Wonder Woman game, which I'm actually pretty interested in. I'm excited to see how a Wonder Woman game comes out. It's cool that there's a lot of these now there's a lot more of these high quality superhero video games coming out, which I'm pretty excited about. John, I don't know if you heard about that. But
I haven't heard about that, but that's an interesting. That could be interesting. I would hope that they do it well. I mean, I like the Batman games were amazing. I never played them, but I know that a lot of people have those very highly regarded.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't Arkham City on like the PS Plus collection or one of them?
Arkham Knight, yeah. Which is the one that came out on PS4. Which so Warner Brothers is also no stranger to making fantastic superhero video games, and I'm curious. It kind of looked like Gal Gadot, but not really. So I can't tell if it's like going to be based off of her interpretation of the character, or if it's going to be like an original character, kind of like they're doing with like Spider-Man. But who knows how that'll turn out. Then from there, John, I'll kind of let you take this one off. But they announced Star Wars Eclipse, which is a new game by Quantic Dream. Now, people don't know who Quantic Dream is. They're actually not anymore, but they used to be a PlayStation exclusive studio. They made games like Heavy Rain, Detroit Become Human.
That makes
Uh,
sense.
um,
Sense.
so, and if people don't know what type of games those games are, they're like kind of like the Walking Dead game from like back in 2012, where it's more of watching the game and you're making like choices that will drastically change the story. It's like a pick your own adventures game essentially. But John, you saw the trailer. I actually started watching the Game Awards a little bit after this. So I actually didn't see the trailer. I don't know if you want to give us a rundown of that.
Well, from what I saw, and it makes a lot of sense that this could be one of those games where it's like you mostly watch it and make decisions about it, because holy shit. Like seriously, I have never seen a game look that good. Like it was a cinematic trailer, so like maybe it won't look exactly like that, but if it looks how it did in the trailer, it will be the most beautiful game ever made. Like this thing straight up looks like a Star Wars movie. And it appears to be set in the time like between the Phantom Menace and Revenge of the Sith, somewhere in there. But it also kind of seems like it might actually be before the Clone Wars too. So it might just be between like Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. So I mean, I don't know who asked
I
for that.
think I think I saw that it takes place long before episode 1 even.
And I could actually see that because just based on like the aircraft, or I mean the spacecraft and stuff, it kind of reminded me of what you'd see in the Phantom Menace, but it looks way better than what was in the Phantom Menace. Like you guys have to check out that trailer. It looks so badass, and I had no idea that this game was a thing. I didn't know it was even in development. I had never
It,
heard anything about it. But
yeah, it
I
just got announced. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the announcement trailer too.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, that makes sense because it popped up on my YouTube recommended, and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. And at first I thought it was a movie because of how good it, like straight up, you guys have to check this out. Like it is the most insane looking uh video game I've ever seen.
I'll
And
be interested to see what the final game looks like because the trailer clearly states at the end not actual gameplay.
right. It says it's a cinematic trailer, but like, I mean, even if the cutscenes look like that, I mean, shit, it's it's insane. Like they showed like an up close of someone's face, and it was like it almost could have been real. Besides the eyelashes looked a little weird, but like,
Funky.
yeah, but like the music and everything, it got me hyped. Let's just say that it got me hyped, and I don't know when it's going to come out. I don't think it said anything about a release date, um, but it's got me hyped, and I'll definitely be keeping that on my radar.
Yeah, I feels like it's kind of funny that you could probably make the argument with a lot of these IPs that maybe the best things coming out of these IPs is on like the non-movie front. you know, um,
Right.
we'll see how. I hope they don't. It sucks that you have to hope for this, but hopefully they don't butcher the remake of Knights of the Night. Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic. Jesus.
Yep.
But Andrew, what is your thoughts on a Star Wars game coming? Set a few hundred years before before the Skywalker saga, and like it's gonna be more like kind of like the Walking Dead games. I don't know if you ever played it, but it's like kind of like a choose your own adventure story.
Yeah. I mean, if they can make it well, I mean, I feel like Star Wars, like lately, their franchise has kind of excelled in like the video game area because like Battlefront 1 was all right, I guess, but Battlefront 2 is pretty banging. So, I mean, we'll see. And with the Knights of the Old Republic remake coming out, I mean, I feel like maybe Star Wars should focus less on making 90 bajillion fucking spin-off Disney Plus shows and focus on making maybe other forms of media that is new and refreshing. And so I don't have to watch Mandalorian and fucking Boba Fett and whatever the fuck else they're making.
Yeah, like
There's gonna be like 4 Mandalorian shows.
so fucking dumb.
Yeah, they're gonna give fucking Baby Yoda his own fucking show, I bet.
Oh, no doubt. But it's gonna be like some kid animated show too.
Yeah,
Like
Baby
that.
Yoda has
Right.
fallen the wayside of the Minions. It's just like a cringe as fuck now.
Yeah, but kind of going on from there for like a few other announcements. They uh they finally showed off some stuff for there's a Suicide Squad game coming out, which is actually a sequel to the Arkham games. So I'm also excited about that because what Guardians of the Galaxy was like really fucking amazing this year. And Suicide Squad to me is kind of like the DC's Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, kind of makes sense because the movies were directed by the same guys, so that's something I'm also keeping an eye on, and I think it'll also probably be good. Um, biggest announcement of the fucking night. Among Us is coming to VR. Game is definitely not dead, still popping off. No, I'm kidding. Among Us is dead as fuck.
I'm gonna watch that game in like a year.
The VR is like the AED machine trying to revive this fucking game.
Yeah, for real. Like that game fell off hard.
Yeah.
Few other announcements worth maybe getting your guys' thoughts on. John, they announced a Lord of the Rings Gollum game.
Interesting.
Curious what your thoughts on what that could entail.
I actually have I pulled up Polygon's page of like some of the biggest announcements, and Gollum looks fucking goofy. He looks goofy in this, so it must have been like, is it set maybe before the Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, I would assume it'd have to be, right? Because maybe between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I mean, it says it's a stealth action game. Seems like some. I mean, I've always actually fucking hated Gollum. Like I never had
Eagle?
any like literally like my wife and I, Casey, we watched Lord of the Rings recently, and she was like, "Man, I don't remember like." I feel like I actually kind of like Gollum, and I like kind of feel bad for him. And I'm like, no, you're evil. Like he is gone, and he's been gone for hundreds of years. So I don't know. I mean, maybe if it's something that, is very highly regarded in the community, I might check it out, but that's probably a fat skip for me. No lie.
Yeah, same. I mean, like, I feel like that's a missed opportunity for a Lord of the Rings game. Like, why would you make a game about a stealth game about with Gollum?
Fucking
Right.
Hitman 4.
Him killing orcs.
I liked Shadow of Mordor. I thought that was really, really good. I only put like 5 or 6 hours into it, but for what it was, I thought it was one of the best Lord of the Rings games I've seen in a minute.
Yeah, and that was considered a really great, like that was, I think, a Game of the Year nominee back when it came out. And actually,
I like 8s and 9s.
Yeah, and actually, the people who were making the Wonder Woman game are the people who made Shadows of Mordor. So
that's good, at least.
Yeah. So yeah, a little questionable on that one. But then going from there, they announced this one is not really announced. I just thought I would ask you about it, John, because I know at least I think you are, right? Are you a Night Before Christmas fan? Nightmare Before.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get the Fall Guys
dead
skin?
Games.
Yeah. Are you gonna get the Fall Guys skin?
Absolutely not. I don't know if I'll ever boot up Fall Guys again unless like we're really itching to play a game together and have no idea what to play.
True.
I thought
like on Friday.
Yeah, we were probably getting close to playing Fall Guys at that
That's
point.
like I can't even, after I platinum that game, I'm like, fucking
pretty sure. So you probably play Rocket League before you play Fall Guys again.
I don't know about that
one. I was going through this list and I just wanted to make mention really quick. Ursula, have you seen, or Andrew, have you seen anything about what was it? I just lost it. Forspoken, that new PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah. It looks interesting.
I think it looks pretty badass.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about it. I'll have to look.
It's
chi a little bit.
Yeah, it was written by the guy who wrote Rogue One.
Oh, and it looks
so
very cinematic. Like, I mean, I think we're finally in 2022. We're gonna finally see like some real next gen looking games. Like, I'm really
oh,
excited.
100%.
This next year is gonna be.
Yeah, I'm gonna be keeping my eye on that one. I feel like that one could go either way. That's usually the case with new IPs, but
Right.
I mean, written by Gary Whitta, who wrote Rogue One, has potential. So for the story at least, and the gameplay looks cool. Like she's like dashing around like super fast, like flying through mountains. Like that looks interesting.
I thought so too.
In terms of a stinky announcement or one that I think is potentially stinky, they announced.
Oh, the Fall Guys one wasn't.
I mean, that was stinky too. But they announced a Halo TV show, which like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I feel like out of things that could be a TV show, like Halo's one that probably is not. Like, I mean, the main character, his whole everything. Anytime he speaks, it's just him spewing out like the most badass one-liners. But like besides that, it's like like I don't really know the longevity of a something like a Halo TV show, but. And it's on Paramount Plus too. So
Plus fucking sucks, dude.
Yeah, that'll be a fat skip for me unless again it's like very highly regarded in the community.
yeah, I mean, video game adaptations are getting better. Like, I mean, like they used to be god fucking awful, and now they're like passable. Like, I mean, Detective Pikachu was decently fun. I never saw the Sonic movie, but I heard good things about it.
I need to watch that.
I was gonna say I've seen the first Sonic movie, and I would say it's probably like it's worth a watch. Probably like a 7.5, maybe an 8.
It's on Paramount Plus.
It's not bad, but
And
the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 game. I mean, not game.
movie?
Yeah, the movie looks actually really badass from that trailer.
Yeah, and like I mean, even like
Knuckles,
yeah,
Dr. Eggman actually kind of looks like Dr.
like Dr. Eggman. Yeah.
I don't know what more you could want.
Yeah, hopefully it's good. And then I mean, even like the Witcher TV show, like that's decent. Not anything amazing, but it's not a dumpster fire, which is an improvement. Not expecting much for the Uncharted movie though. Going back to that, I think that's gonna be about it.
I don't expect, dude.
I might not even watch that fucking movie.
Yeah, I'll probably wait until that's on some streaming service. I'm definitely not going to pay to go watch it.
Yeah, Jesus.
Pay to go watch it. I mean,
Tom Holland, the true Sony pony.
Yeah, dude is just getting tossed around like a whore at Sony Pictures.
Yeah,
just getting every Sony film.
Oh, fuck! Everybody dropped out and wanted to do this god awful film. Let's fucking get Tom on Tom on the line.
I'm on it. He's got some momentum with Spider-Man. Maybe people will watch this god awful movie.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, shivering just thinking about it. But
who knows? It'll be kick-ass. There's some cool shots, but like
I will. I don't think I'm gonna go watch it in theaters. But I think I'll definitely watch it out of just being such a huge Uncharted fan. I just want to be like, I feel like I need to see it. Like being like, even if it's terrible, that's gonna make me want to watch it even more. Like to see how fucking bad it is.
That's fair. Yeah, I'll probably have to watch it. Not in theaters though. Unless it's really good. It could be. I doubt
yeah, I doubt it. I doubt it indeed. That is the motto. I doubt it.
Doubt
it. Potentially, but I doubt it.
Press X to doubt.
Hey, I doubt it.
And then Andrew, I wanted to follow up with you on this because we talked about this. So they announced also this Matrix Awakens like Unreal 5 engine demo. I downloaded it, but I haven't had the chance to play it.
I haven't either.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you ended up actually playing it or not.
No, I queued it to download. I haven't even. My PS5 is like off, so it's just like there's just like Warzone and the Matrix thing, just like waiting to like suck all my energy or all my internet bandwidth when we get done with this pod.
But I've seen a lot of praise for it, especially the graphics. Like shit looks like real life. Literally.
Yeah, I've seen screenshots. I actually saw it on Reddit. Somebody posted like in like screenshots from their PS5, and it looks fucking incredible.
That's crazy. What's crazier to me is that Unreal Engine 5 is going to be utilized with Rocket League at some point soon. Like Psyonix literally announced that like a year ago that Rocket League was going to make the shift to Unreal Engine 5. So I have no idea what that means, but
I'm kind of curious what they could do with the visuals of the game though, because I feel like Rocket League has a certain art aesthetic, like
it does.
like would it
And
look weird after they do that update? What do you think?
probably, I wonder if maybe they're just like looking to, I don't know, shine some things up, make it more polished looking. Because I mean, some of the cars, if you like really look at them, I mean, it doesn't look the best, but it definitely has its aesthetic that shouldn't be messed with too much. And also, there's obviously a big pro community with Rocket League, so messing with that too much is
Yeah, I can't wait to turn my PS5 into a fucking jet engine just to play Rocket League.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Make it
and
60 gigabyte.
I mean, speaking of Rocket League, they did finally give some advertising at the Game Awards. They did have a trailer for Rocket League Sideswipe.
Hey.
I don't know if you want to plug that in, John.
No, I mean, like
If
if you have a phone, if you just happen to have a smartphone.
if you're one of the lucky few that has a smartphone.
No, but seriously, like Andrew and I, we keep up with Jared. Shout out Jared. But he downloaded Rocket League Sideswipe and he's having a lot of fun with it. And as someone who's played Rocket League for fucking 6 years now, I was very, very surprised at how quick he was able to pick that up because he's actually like better than me at it. No lie. We played a few matches together and the matchmaking is amazing. Like you'd think on a phone game, it wouldn't be great. No, it's amazing. There's a chat feature. You can easily get in a party together. You can play against each other. Dude, it's solid. It's literally Rocket League on the phone. It's just 2D, but it's got a charm to it because of that. And like, yeah, shout out Jared. He's bomb at this game. But I would suggest anyone download it. Just try it out. If you got a free gig on your phone, try it out.
Can you play with a controller?
You can play with a controller.
Do you?
I don't.
I don't either.
Because I think it's more fun, like as a phone game, to just keep it a phone game. I mean,
I will say you can like, for any faults the game has, you can like pull off some like fucking insane ass shit in that game just because it's all aerials and all. He's like you have full boost.
Yeah,
it's all aerial based.
A lot of what Andrew and I like to do in Rocket League is like just stunt on people and get cool. So if they had, my only complaint with the game is they don't have like a replay feature.
Yeah, they need that.
They really do. And I don't know how that would
affect. You just have to screen record it.
You could screen record it, but like you'd have to just screen record
it on all the time.
Yeah. But it's fire flame. Love Rocket League, love Sideswipe. I'm gonna be
it's probably one of the better mobile games I've played in a while. Well, besides I did start playing GTA San Andreas on my phone because I didn't want to play the definitive edition.
Honestly,
I'm working through that. Just got done with the train mission, so we're like 8% into the game.
There we go.
Yeah, the game has like 100 missions in its story mode.
Yeah, and like the first like 30 of them, you don't even get money; you just get respect.
I might need to steal that from your account, Andrew.
Like $5, bro.
Yeah, true.
Cheap ass.
I forgot it was like I thought it was 10 for some reason.
It was, but you can buy all 3 of them for like $15, I think, now in a bundle.
And that is something I would play on a controller, but
San Andreas is the only one that you can use a controller on. The other 2 don't. They haven't updated it to allow controllers. But San Andreas is the best of those 3. So I mean,
does it have like the updated controls?
Yeah, if you use a controller, it has like GTA 5 controls, like R2 to drive and L2 to stop, and change your weapons with the L1, R1.
Maybe that might be the move, honestly.
I was gonna say also
I would get it soon because the definitive edition's coming out on iOS, so they're gonna take those apps down soon.
I'll need to download those like today then. Oh, and I was gonna say real quick, Ursel, to your point, about like a controller on Sideswipe. There are grand champs, which is the highest level in Sideswipe. There are people that got there just using touch controls. And there's also people that got there using a controller. So it's not like
both are viable
Your
options.
advantage with a controller necessarily. The touch controls are actually really solid.
That's
So
good, honestly. Maybe I'll download it.
maybe.
Maybe.
I think you'd like it more than regular Rocket League. It's a lot easier to pick up because like regular Rocket League, to be halfway decent, you have to put in like 100 hours. But Sideswipe, you put in an hour and you're as good as probably anyone. So
Yeah, and I mean, it's also like just a 2D game too, you know. So
Yeah, and the game's only 2 minutes, so you can do like a shit ton in like a very small amount of time.
exactly. It's easy to rank up. The items are fun. It's got the same kind of collector uh enjoyment to it. So but that's all I have on Sideswipe. That's cool that at the Game Awards are like shown. It's actually really cool.
yeah, and kind of going from there, um, talking about some of the winners that are kind of like maybe worth mentioning. I have a full list, just because I play like most of the games that come out, so I'll just kind of give some input on these. Feel free to jump in. But just some of these that are worth mentioning, you know, from games that we have played or that we know about. Was it best audio design that went to Forza Horizon 5? No surprise. I mean, the cars in that game sound like real life. Best independent game and best debut indie game went to the PlayStation exclusive Kenna Bridge of Spirits. So I might have to try that out.
I've been wanting to look at that, or I've been wanting
yeah.
to try it out.
Best performance, I thought this was funny. It went to Maggie Robertson for Lady D in Resident Evil Village, which is funny because it's just
Is that voted by a paper?
no. These are like the actual like winners by the committee.
Oh, okay.
The committee.
It was interesting because if you played that game, then you know how little she's actually in that game, which is just ridiculous.
We'll just for
Yeah, people are simping for Lady D.
Yeah, this one I thought was funny. So, like, okay, so there were 6 Game of the Year nominees. There was It Takes Two, Psychonauts 2, Metroid Dread, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Oh gosh, that's 4 right there. I'm trying to remember all of them. Oh gosh. Okay, 1 second. Hold up. This is gonna bug
shower.
words. In the year. I'm forgetting what all 6 of them are. Okay. Jesus. 1 second. I'm trying to find it.
Live radio is hard.
Oh, dude, it was Deathloop, It Takes Two, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and Resident Evil Village.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. So those were the 6 nominations for Game of the Year, and the way it was funny because it was split up was 4 of those games were in the Best Action Adventure category, and 2 of them, or 1 of them, was in Best Action. And it's just so weird because the game that won Best Action game was Returnal. But it's weird because Returnal wasn't nominated for Game of the Year, but Deathloop was, and Deathloop was also in that Best Action category. So when Returnal won, it was like, okay, so Deathloop is not getting Game of the Year. And then for Best Action Adventure category, every other game was in that category except It Takes Two. And for Best Action Adventure, Metroid Dread won. So then everyone was like, okay, so it's going to be Metroid Dread or It Takes Two, because It Takes Two won Best Multiplayer Game and Best Family Game. So people are like, then I was like, damn, I feel it looks like Metroid Dread is probably going to win, bro. Like,
that would have been insane.
Would have been insane. I was like, Metroid Dread Game of the Year,
7-hour game.
Not even that it's 7 hours. It's just like there's honestly better side scrollers that have come out in the past few years.
Swipe.
Literally. But we'll come back around to that. But then also Best Narrative Game. I want to give a shout out to Best Narrative was Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. I've been saying this. That is like the best game that you could watch. The story in that game is like it's like, you know, it's like PlayStation exclusive level. It's like Naughty Dog, like Spider-Man tier. Like story in that game is phenomenal. And honestly,
than any Marvel TV show that's come out.
Wait, say that again.
Would you say it's better than any like Marvel TV show that's come out this year?
Oh, 100%.
Damn.
Guardians of the Galaxy is the best Marvel thing that I've experienced this year.
Damn.
100%. Um, yeah, it's and honestly, the more I've been separated from that game by time, the more I really appreciate the story of that game. And I think the consensus with that game is, the gameplay, not great, but they have such a good foundation laid down for everything with all the characters and the story and everything that whenever a second game comes out, all they have to do is fine tune the gameplay, and that second game is going to be like, like a 100% a game of the year nominee if they stick the landing. Like a lot of people have compared it to like Uncharted 1. Like this feels like Uncharted 1, and hopefully that second game could be like Uncharted 2.
Damn.
So also funny enough, we're talking about mobile games. Best mobile game went to Genshin Impact, which is essentially Breath of the Wild on mobile.
Surprise there.
Best game direction went to Deathloop, which I would give it that. That game is very well directed. That's actually, I guess I'll kind of go into there from game of the year. Game of the year went to most anticipated game worth mentioning between Horizon 2, God of War Ragnarok, Breath of the Wild 2, Starfield, and Elden Ring. The most anticipated game one was Elden Ring. Shows how high the hype levels are for that.
What?
Yeah, the hype. No, dude, for real, the hype is like off the charts for Elden Ring. My brother bought the $200 like a collector's edition of it. It's crazy,
Bruh. Damn.
yeah. But from there, going into it, game of the year went to It Takes Two, which honestly, keeping it general here for my own thoughts, but I think it's very well deserving of that game of the year award. Honestly, out of all the nominees, that's probably the one that my opinion of it has either not dwindled or my opinion of it was high to begin with. Like Metroid Dread, I wouldn't even consider that a game of the year candidate to begin with. But then like something like Deathloop, my opinion of it has dwindled a little bit as time has detached me from it. But It Takes Two, like that's I would say without doubt is like the best co-op game I've ever played. And still, like I said, I think like if I wanted any game to win, it probably would have been It Takes Two. I know you guys played it and it didn't really connect with you guys in the spring. Do you guys have any interest in revisiting it now that it's like picking up accolades?
I do. I was actually going to see if Casey wanted to boot it back up tonight, just talking about it. Because I mean, we had a lot of fun with it initially. I think what turned us off to it though is just the amount of time it took us to get through the first level. And we died quite a bit. We got a little frustrated with it, but I mean, I feel like we're both better at video games in general now than we were like, 6 months ago, probably when we tried it. So
back in April.
Okay. So yeah, 8 months ish ago. But yeah, I mean, we'll probably boot that back up. I'm excited to get back into it actually, because I didn't realize it was that good. Like, I mean, it played really well initially, but game of the year. And I feel like I'd be cheating myself if I didn't play through a game of the year game, and I have it. So
yeah, I feel a little bit bad about our initial like plans for it because I feel like I kind of understated maybe some of the technical prowess required for the game for two people to both play it. Like because I know we all were playing with our girlfriends, and like I know Jordan is not a gamer, so she probably had a hard time with it.
I wish it was a single player game. Like I probably would have maybe gotten halfway through if it was single player.
But that's the beauty of it. Like when you can get two people that like once you like get the mechanics down and you kind of like just can play it, like that synergy that you have between the two players, like John, especially like I know Casey's good at games. Like Casey is good at games. Like if I think if you guys sit down and decide to play through it, like honestly, like that was one of the most fun experiences I've had like in the past like 10 years, like playing that with Tana. Like
well, it's funny because like a couple months after we played It Takes Two and we kind of struggled with it, we almost 100%ed Super Mario 3D World together. And you guys say that that's a terrible game to play with 2 people. We almost did it 100% and got.
I hated playing that one with multiple people. It was an awful multiplayer experience.
No, yeah.
And also after that, we played GTA quite a bit, and I'm like, okay, if Casey can, be able to do that well with a game that utilizes literally every button on the controller, then yeah, it takes 2. And Casey also loved Astro's Playroom. Like,
yeah.
he loved that shit. So, and It Takes Two kind of reminds me of it a little bit. So yeah, I probably, after we get off of our podcast, I'll probably play that after watching RLCS.
Yeah, and honestly, like when you play through the game and like view it and it's like in its entirety, there's so many like it's kind of the idea that we were praising 3D World for, where they have so many different mechanics. Like It Takes Two has so many different mechanics, and they apply it like built around the whole co-op idea. So it utilizes it like masterfully. And honestly, it's the most fun I've had with platformers since Mario Galaxy. And that's high praise, but
that is very high praise. Would you ever play it again, Ursel?
Yeah, because you can honestly, like, that's also like a replay value, is because the 2 different characters have different items and different things. You can really play through the game a second time, and
that's right.
Like you can play through the game a second time and get a very different gameplay experience out of it, because each level, it's kind of like a key and a keyhole situation. Like one person, you have 2 different items with each character, and you have to utilize each other to like use those items to the fullest extent, and those items control very differently for each character. So
right, welcome to me now.
yeah, so honestly, like you could replay that game, and like that's you're probably getting a good like total of like 25 hours total, because probably like one time through it's like 10 to 12 hours. I think I beat it, and like I sat down, played a level each day, so it probably took me like 6-7 days of playing it. Just like each level is like 1 to 2 hours, knocked one out each day, and yeah, I had a blast, honestly. And like I said, I think it's well deserving of that game of the year, and I'm super happy about that choice. But we'll have our own. I don't know if we've talked about it, but probably in January, I think we're gonna have our own best of the year, things. I think we're gonna make it a little more unorthodox, but we'll kind of be giving our own shout outs to some of our favorite things that we experienced this year too. So you'll definitely see it.
Shout out in regards to kind of along that line real quick, but I was looking through the list at best sports/racing game. Yes, I agree that Forza Horizon 5 should win, but come on, man, Hot Wheels got snubbed. Hot Wheels deserved something.
Hot Wheels is straight heat, dude.
It's such a good game. Ursel, you have to download that shit. It's so fun.
Honestly, maybe if it came out in a year that a Forza game didn't come out, it's like,
honestly, because it's the best. It's literally the best arcade racing game I've played since Mario Kart 8, and that came out in 2014. So
yeah. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, which I think is just a funny topic, is so there's also the Player's Choice Game of the Year, and that went to that this year went to Halo Infinite. Now, I mean, I would say probably a lot of people would probably put Halo Infinite in their top 5. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, like what the fuck, why did Halo Infinite win because it's a shitty game or anything? It's a great game. I can attest to that. John too, probably. But it was just kind of interesting because the game actually properly released in its entirety the day before the Game Awards, which is kind of silly. Actually, it's really silly. But I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on the Player's Choice Award versus the actual like committee chosen Game of the Year? Like last year, I kind of wanted to talk about this because last year it was the whole conversation of what's the true Game of the Year. We kind of talked about this before the show, but I thought I'd bring it up here, like because last year Last of Us 2 won, and everyone that hated Last of Us 2 was like, the real winner is Ghost of Tsushima, because we vote bombed Ghost of Tsushima essentially to get it to win. But what do you guys think? What holds more weight and validity, and what are your guys' thoughts on that?
Well, I think the fact that a game that released the day before the actual show can win like invalidates the entire fucking player's choice thing, because that's stupid as, I mean, I know the multiplayer was out, but like you're not voting for Halo Infinite multiplayer, you're voting for the entire game. So it's like imagine if like the campaign ended up just sucking complete ass and it like won game of the year by the players. Like that'd be hilarious.
See, and I think the player's choice is definitely interesting to see because it's kind of just like essentially the most popular game at that time, or I guess the gamers community or like the way the community makes a statement about something. So I think it has value in that regard, I guess, because it's definitely a statement by the community. But honestly, looking at this list and looking through all of the games that won, I think the committee's pretty valid. So
what do you think about like pulling it back to last year, like, you know, that situation with like Ghost of Tsushima? Do you think Ghost of Tsushima is the game of the year last year?
dude, I don't know if I'm gonna even be able to get through it. Like, okay, I love Ghost of Tsushima, and I said a couple of weeks ago on the pod that like, oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna get through it. It's not gonna be like I get through a third of it and I quit, but it might be that. I mean, Last of Us is just edge of your seat. Like you have to finish it. Like you're itching to finish it and see what happens. But Ghost of Tsushima, like, yes, it's a beautiful game and it plays incredibly, and I love the aesthetic of it. It's just that the story is kind of uninteresting to me. Like,
Yeah, that's my main complaint with that game.
Last of Us.
Yeah, that was one of those games where I share the same opinion on, like, you know, it's like a beautiful game and it controls like almost perfectly, but God, the story, like they're like, you know, most games like The Last of Us specifically, like I kept like wanting to play it, but like Ghost of Tsushima, I felt after a while was just like a chore. I was like, this story doesn't really hold me. Like I just feel like I'm just trying to complete it to say I've completed it. Like I'm not really interested.
And some of the missions, to me, the story missions feel a little bit like they do feel like a chore and they feel kind of old. Like just, oh, you got to collect this and you got to grab these
And
people.
trailing missions, fucking trailing missions.
And you can't let that it literally reminds me of Infamous.
It reminds me of Assassin's Creed.
Or like kind of like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, my main problem with that game is the story doesn't really like hit until like the last third of the game. And like it's not even at the end of the day that like it's a good story once it's all finished and wrapped up, but like it's not like maybe another situation is the best I could compare it to is like I think Red Dead 2 has like, you know, arguably, you know, like
world class.
Like it has like a world class story, and that game is also an example of like the story you don't really, you know, it doesn't really register until like honestly until you've probably walked away from it and beaten it. And especially like Red Dead 2, that game, it seems kind of aimless for a large amount of it, but once you finish it, you're like, holy fuck. But it's not like to that caliber. Like when you finish Ghost of Tsushima story, it's like, yeah, that was a good story, but it wasn't like, you know, Red Dead 2 where like I would like, you know, advise anyone that's playing that game to like really batter down and try to get through to the end, like because it's like masterclass. Like I wouldn't say
it's like it's a really beautiful game. It's really fun to play, and I like booting it up just to like look at it, and it's peaceful for a sword fighting game and a samurai game. But yeah, I can't see myself spending another 15 hours potentially to finish it.
Yeah, and that's a good case of an open world game where I feel like you can get most of what you want out of it without having to beat it.
Right. And I might even play just like some side quests and stuff because I love it. It just, I can't stress enough how beautiful it looks and how fun it is to control. It's just, yeah, and the mechanics are great. It's just the story is meh to me.
Mm-hmm. But that's a kind of just sort spend a lot of time talking about the Game Awards, but you know, that's like the big award show for video games.
Time to go return some videotapes.
Yeah. But now we can go ahead and get on to the main topic right after we all, you know, return some videotapes. So, all right. So looking at the camera, it looks like we're all back from returning videotapes. So we can go ahead and get into the main topic this week, a maybe I would describe it as a cult classic. It is the
Black
2000,
comedy.
yeah, it is the 2000 film, the breakout role of Christian Bale. We're talking about American Psycho. Now, this movie doesn't just feature Christian Bale, also features Willem Dafoe, um, Jared Leto, and Reese Witherspoon. So interesting cast, funny enough. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to even think where to start off with this film, because this film is just like you're never. I guess I'll start off by saying this: you're never gonna see a movie like American Psycho ever in your life. It's truly a one of a kind film. And I guess I could start off by first, I want to ask, what was everyone's expectations coming into this film? And compared to what the film actually is, and then what are your general thoughts on the movie? So I guess I'll start off. I was thinking this was going to be like a slasher film, like that. He was just gonna, it was just gonna be almost gonna be like a horror film. But obviously the movie is more akin to a black comedy, even though maybe on first viewing you might not register that, I guess. But yeah, I will say on subsequent viewings, if you go into this movie very much knowing that it's a black comedy, this movie is fucking hilarious. Like literally, like I was laughing my ass off like constantly throughout this movie, and it's just honestly weird thing to say, one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. And honestly, I really like. I've come to like it even more on subsequent viewings. I've seen it this is probably my fourth time watching it. I would say third or fourth time watching it. Now for this, for this episode that we're doing, but I wasn't sure what to make of it the first time I saw it, but as I've watched it and understood its comedic nature, intentionally comedic nature, and how ridiculous of a situation and just a character Patrick Bateman is, I've come to really, really enjoy the film. But what about you guys? What are your guys' thoughts kind of coming into this movie? And I guess your general thoughts on the film. Andrew, how about you start us off?
Yeah, so I'd never seen this movie, but I've seen a shit ton of memes made off of it on TikTok lately. So, um, I didn't really know what to expect. I thought kind of like you, it was just gonna be like a slasher film, but it is honestly one of the funniest fucking movies I've ever seen. It's like it doesn't try to be funny, but just the way that Christian Bale's character acts is like the most hilarious shit ever. And like all of his quotes are just so stupid. And it's like his returning bit about returning videotapes is just like the funniest fucking thing ever to me, and I don't know why. Like it makes no sense why I think it's so funny, but just like he's anytime he has to leave anywhere, it's just like, oh, I have to go return some videotapes. And it's like if he ever needs an excuse, he just has to go return his videotapes, and all of his videotapes are just lesbian porn. Like that's what all of his videotapes in the movie are, and I'm like, I better go return some videotapes. But yeah, I really liked it. I watched it on my phone, so I didn't really have the most optimal experience, but it was still funny as shit. So I'll probably watch it again.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be definitely like almost a horror film, because I had heard of Psycho,
Yeah.
the shower scene, and I almost thought it was kind of along those lines.
Yeah, but this is American Psycho, bro.
Right. But I thought it was almost like, in my head, for whatever reason, I associated this with being like a sequel to Psycho. And I know Psycho was like considered one of the scariest movies of the time, and like it made people afraid to take a shower. But no, it definitely wasn't that. I literally, like, I was talking to these guys while I was watching this, and I was like, I was wondering if I was even watching the right movie, because it's so fucking ridiculous. Like, I'm really surprised that like my parents are probably listening to this episode and like, why didn't y'all show me this movie? I know we had it. Like, I had seen the DVD of it.
They returned it.
They must have returned the videotape.
To be fair, this is probably not a movie I'd ever want to watch with my family.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, the last part of the movie definitely would not want to watch it with my family.
I mean, fucking any of it, dude. It's
Yeah.
but I watched it with my wife and we both thought it was ridiculous. I don't think we really caught the comedic vibe of it initially. Like I knew there were about it, but I think we were both like, oh my gosh, was this? We were focused on like, oh, we were over analyzing the shit out of it. I'm not gonna lie. We were like, was it all in his head? Like, was it this? What's
Dude, I actually thought that. Like by the end of the movie, I was like, I kind of think this is a fucking Shutter Island situation here.
right? And I've actually read into it, and there's theories that he actually did kill everyone uh except for Jared Leto's character.
Paul Allen?
Paul Allen, yeah.
How could you forget Paul Allen's name?
I mean, I guess we could probably. So, did you? I guess. Did you enjoy the film, or did you?
Yeah.
Not like it. Okay.
So first viewing, I was actually very, very confused. But after like reading up on it and talking to you guys about it a little bit, it's a very enjoyable film, and I would recommend it to honestly anyone that hasn't seen this. You gotta watch it, but go into it with the expectation that it's maybe not, maybe not.
Ridiculous. It's meant to be ridiculous.
Yeah, it's meant to be ridiculous, and I think it's like almost a horror comedy, but not really scary. It's definitely not scary. There are definitely some parts where you'll be like cringe up, but it's bonkers is the best word to describe this movie.
It's really a one of a kind film. There's not really any other movie that I can be like, oh yeah, this is like what American Psycho is like, you know?
Well,
like
and it has a sequel too, but
I've heard,
seen it.
I think the sequel is like direct to video. I direct to DVD, and I heard it's terrible.
Oh shoot!
Anytime something's direct to home theater, you're like
Straight to streaming. Home Alone, 5, 7, whatever it is.
This is Home Alone 3, bro.
Yeah, and
it's a straight to DVD film. I'm pretty sure.
when it got rid of Macaulay.
Dude, I need to watch Home Alone 2 because it's Christmas. So
I need to watch.
I know. Maybe I need to watch it since I'm going to New York. Maybe I'll watch it in New York.
Oh my god.
Oh,
dude,
vibes.
I'm gonna watch it on the plane when I'm flying to Arizona. I'm gonna be like, wow, I'm going to New York.
I might Redbox it after I return the videotapes that I got last night.
That honestly, that's like one thing that about this movie that I'll say, like now that I've seen it like a handful of times, is like this is genuinely one of the most rewatchable movies that I've like ever seen. It like every time I watch it, because at the end of the day, it's kind of just a random collection of events, and it's just like it just doesn't get old. Every time I watch it, like honestly, this might have been my favorite time watching. It was so funny. Like I was literally like I was laughing out loud, like
tearing up.
Yeah, I was just like, this is so ridiculous. Like everything he's saying, like, and there's I guess kind of backing it up. What are your guys' thoughts on Patrick Bateman as a character? Kind of going more into him specifically, because I mean he's really the heart and soul of this film. But what do you think of him as a person or as a character?
I think he's a jackass. like he's so obsessed with like status and like his image to other people, and then like he also is just like obsessed with just like murking people left and right. It's like just like the most jackass character arc like I've ever seen in my life. Like first he's like coming in and he's like sweating bullets because Paul Allen's business card is like off white and it's got a watermark, and then like all of a sudden he's like jerking off over Huey Lewis, and then he's killing Paul Allen, and then you're like what the fuck is going on here?
He's very eccentric, and honestly, like I would almost imagine that there are people in the world that are like Patrick Bateman, like
100%.
Not in the sense that
or like he's killing people,
right? But like this eccentric, like self-absorbed, very particular kind of guy. He's weirdly relatable in some regards. Just like being a perfectionist, maybe. I'm kind of a perfectionist, but not not to the extent of
Are you saying
Patrick.
you're Patrick Bateman?
Yes, that's
Okay.
actually, I need to return some videotapes, guys. BRB.
Jesus Christ.
But no, I mean, he's a hilarious character. He's fucking ridiculous is the best way to describe him. He's just crazy. Like he's obsessed, self-obsessed. Very much like this is kind of how I would imagine most people like high ranking in companies to be. Like this is probably how Jeff Bezos is. He probably has this like this fucking 30-minute facial routine and like this crazy workout routine, like 1,000 sit-ups a day. I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah,
And
like to me,
Bezos is that self-absorbed. It's gotta be.
the crazy, like the thing that makes me like Patrick Bateman so much as a character is I mean, first of all, like I don't like him, like he's a fucking psychopath, obviously. But like you said, John, there's kind of like this he fits the mold of like what you would imagine, taking away the murders, what you would imagine this upper class, like completely probably detached from regular sort of living in society, completely based around like superficial things like the reservations at Dorsia, like
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
or like sweating bullets over a fucking business card, this shit that's just like it's like it's just the stereotype of like what like upper class like corporate America, you know these fancy suits, these nice dinners, everyone's talking like they have a stick up their ass essentially, you know.
Like all of these characters in the film are definitely like it's how I would imagine like the business meetings they have. That's exactly how I would imagine like these business meetings with VPs and executives to go. It's just like everyone measuring their dicks together.
Yeah,
What do they call him in like the synopsis of the film? He's like they call him like an up and coming yuppie.
That sounds right.
Yeah,
I don't remember specific.
and yeah, that's kind of like where I'm curious if there's any sort of like commentary going on about it, like about that. If there is, I'm not sure. Maybe if I'm drawing any conclusions, maybe it's that like all of that shit is so fucking superficial and so fake up at the top that like literally motherfuckers will break. I have no clue. Or like, they have this like pretty much this release. He has this insane level of release going on where he's fucking murdering people or potentially thinking about murdering people, as we'll get onto later. But even from there, like I'm trying to just figure out like where to draw a conversation with this film, because it's really, like just a collection of different situations. I guess maybe we could, I mean, there's just so many scenes worth talking about. Maybe we could talk about some of our favorite scenes, like right off the bat. Andrew, do you want to start off?
There's for favorite scenes.
We could just go off random quotes, honestly.
Yeah, I mean the videotapes, obviously, every time, classic. I think when he
said it 10 times.
I think when he breaks up with his fiance, it's like just like the stupidest interaction ever. She's like just like crying, and then like all of a sudden she's like fine, and then he's like, I have to go return some videotapes. And then when she's like, one of the funniest lines is like when he's like oh, you can't break up with me, like your friends are my friends and my friends are your friends. And he's like, yeah, I thought about that, and you can keep them. Just like such a like it's kind of funny because like that scene specifically is like kind of feels like you're seeing him like his downfall, where he's just like, is that before or after the rampage? That's before, right?
No, it's
are you talking about the very end?
Yeah.
That's before that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean there's just like, especially the Paul Allen scene where he just murks Paul. It's just like, is that a raincoat, Patrick? It's like, yes, it is, Paul.
It's so ridiculous. I really like the scenes, like, or specifically the scene where he's running naked with a fucking chainsaw. One, like, he picks up like a hooker in an alley or something, and this is his second time picking her up, mind
After
you.
he beat the shit out of her the
Yeah.
first time.
Like, she's like, I was in the hospital because of you, and I can't even imagine like what went on to, because it shows a lot of what they did, and there's a lot of quotable moments within that scene. But
Fucking eat it.
Eat it.
stare at it, eat it. But when he goes and gets her the second time, after everything's said and done, or not even after everything's said and done, during the events that are taking place, she tries to escape because she finds like a severed head in his closet. And so as she's trying to escape, this blonde hooker lady, he goes after her, and he already has like blood all over his body. He goes from having sex to now he's got blood all over his body, and he's chasing after her with a chainsaw and like waving it around like a madman. And it's like, I'm pretty sure there's even an it like shows him watching, maybe it doesn't show him watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but he references like serial killers throughout the movie. And when he like drops the chainsaw down, like, that was the most ridiculous shit. Like, he drops
Yeah, I thought that was like the goofiest fucking thing I've ever seen.
it, zoom zoom, spinning, and just like lands right in her back, dude.
Yeah,
And
though,
like
when I was watching that scene,
I hadn't like, I didn't have the awareness that like maybe this stuff isn't happening until then, because I'm like, there is no fucking way that this lady is banging on everyone's door
yeah.
in this apartment, and he gets away with dropping a chainsaw from 8 floors up and killing this chick. It's ridiculous.
Was there a certain point in the movie for both of you guys? I can't, like, obviously I can't remember because like when I originally saw this movie, it's been a few years. But was there a point in the movie where you were like, okay, this isn't a slasher film, and maybe this is more of like a comedy, where maybe there's a scene where you were like, okay, maybe this is not what I was thinking? Is there a scene that registers with you guys in particular?
I think it was the business card scene, because just how obsessed he was over this fucking business card. I was like, okay, there's no way this movie is like a serious like slasher film. Like, this is goofy.
I think it was when, for me, he was talking to his buddies, and he was like, I think when I watch a girl walk down the street, I think one of two things. Wow, she's like really cute, or I'd really like to take her out on the town, or I'd like to chop her fucking head off. Like, when he said that, I was like, okay. And then like their reactions to it, I was like, all right, like, I feel like this might be not exactly what I thought in the beginning. But
I feel like it's worth talking about. Like, I feel like there's so many iconic scenes. One, there's that one that's been memed on, like where he's walking down the hallway with like the headphones on, and people just put in different songs for him walking down the hallway, like on TikTok or whatever.
I love that.
But the one that I mean, obviously the one where he kills Paul Allen. I mean, just any scene where he's getting ready to do some stupid shit, but he's like giving his critical analysis of like an album, or his like
like obsessed with music. It's so weird. Like,
Yeah.
that was like, it almost felt like he was a serial killer, obviously, but like his shtick was, I'm gonna give an album review before I kill someone. Person, why this album is so great. And
He's like the serial killer version of Anti Fitano.
I don't know.
Anthony Fantano. Yeah.
Or yeah, Fantano.
And like,
I give this album a light 6.
Oh yeah. Okay. It took me a second.
And it's just like crazy. It's like, how did, like, whoever wrote the screenplay for this movie, it's like, how do you come up with like, I'm gonna make this serial killer that like gives album reviews right before he kills someone, and like it's like the craziest shit to like just watch unfold. And like just that scene, like have you heard of Huey Lewis in the News? Like, I think this song album's their undisputed masterpiece. You're wearing a raincoat, Patrick.
Yes, Paul, I am.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, Paul.
How,
Whack.
try getting a reservation at Dorsia now.
So ridiculous. But I do imagine that, like, literally people probably think that way at the top. Like, oh, this guy can get a reservation at this restaurant and I can't.
And they probably like spite these motherfuckers, like, oh my God, I can't believe this dude got this fucking reservation. I can't get a reservation at this restaurant.
Literally. I totally believe it. And going back to favorite scenes, I think any scene with William Dafoe is amazing. Those are the moments where I actually found myself laughing the most. Especially like when they're out to lunch or whatever. And William Dafoe is like, oh, so now can you remember like where you were at? And he like Patrick Bateman says some bullshit answer, and then William Dafoe's like, well, I've heard from like 7 people that you were doing this. And he's like, oh yeah, I was doing that.
Yeah.
Visual medium. But Patrick Bate or William Dafoe is just like throwing his hands up like, duh, oops, duh. Like,
worst detective in the world.
literally, but kind of the best detective in the world. Like, he knew from the moment that he talked to Patrick Bateman that he had killed Paul, but did he kill Paul?
And that's kind of like,
and was the detective even real, you know?
that's kind of like where the ambiguity of it comes in and where they kind of like add to it. So one thing I know about like the making of this film is when they filmed any of those scenes where he's being interviewed by or like interrogated by Willem Dafoe's character, they shot that scene in 2 different ways. One way where they recorded it where Willem Dafoe's detective had to, like, he played the scene out like he knew that Patrick killed people, and then they filmed it another way where Willem Dafoe's detective did not know that Patrick Bateman killed people. And what they did for the final film, and what we see is they took those 2 different takes of those scenes and just intercut them. So it's just constantly cutting back and forth between like the take where he knows and the take where he doesn't know. So you even when you're watching, you're like, does he know or does he not know? Like,
Yeah, I've been thinking that the entire time.
Yeah, so they intentionally like edited the film that way, so you don't know. They just put those 2 different shots together essentially, where you don't know, like, does he know or doesn't. It creates this uncertainty as well, like as a viewer, like, what's going on here. And I think kind of going into like, the the ambiguity of the film. Kind of, I guess, John, you were kind of hinting off it. I don't know if you want to, like, I guess, what did you read up on in terms of like the theories and things like that? Because from what I gathered, like, my take on the ending of the film is like, you look at his notebook and sees all those drawings, and like he talks to his lawyer, and his lawyer's like, bro, you're not being funny. I literally just talked to fucking Paul Allen, like, and all this shit, like, and the fact that he got away with doing all that crazy shit and no one ever like came after him. My idea is that all this shit was just like, all these scenes are manifestations of his like psyche. Like, it's just like, like that, a lot of these scenes were in his head, like his desires to fucking kill people. And then we're seeing like on those pages at the end that like, oh, like all these drawings, that's what we were just seeing, and maybe he is, I mean, he probably is fucking crazy because he's like not realizing what's real and what's not. But at the end of the day, a lot of the stuff was not real, is what I'm guessing. But
yeah,
what have you like read up on, John, or what are your thoughts?
Well, I'll give you what I read up on, and then I'll say what I think. So there's a few possibilities that I've kind of gained from reading up on it, and one of them was that it was all fantasy, and Bateman made everything up that reflects his psychosis. So kind of what you were saying. And I think that's probably the most valid thing, except I do think that he probably killed maybe the homeless man and the dog, as sad as it was. Because that's the one that I feel like he'd definitely be able to get away with, versus all the other murders, and there was no one around. And it would definitely kind of play into his high society, big businessman vibe, where he's killing a homeless person. And it's kind of like it's that scene too, to me, is almost like just representative of how it is, you know?
That actually kind of going into that scene real quick, my thoughts on it. Like,
Yeah.
I think a lot of the scenes in this movie are a lot of crazy violent shit is happening, and for the most part it's pretty funny. That's the only scene where I'm not smiling. I'm not laughing at all. Like,
That scene is brutal because
yeah,
he like this whole
humiliates a
like,
dude.
hey, I need some help, and Patrick's like, I can help you, I can help you.
Yeah.
And he shoots the guy in the head and then steps on his dog and smashes, like kills it. And I cringed really hard, and Casey and I did too. And we noticed, it's funny, we watched through the credits of the movie, and it says at the very end that no animals were harmed in the making of this movie. And I think a lot of movies do that, but I'm glad that they called that out. But yeah, going back to like some of the possibilities I've read up on, it was all fantasy is one, and I think that's probably pretty accurate. Then there's another theory that that Bateman actually killed everyone except for Paul Allen. So like Paul Allen was the one person he didn't actually kill, but like he did kill everyone else, which could also make sense given that given the conversation with his lawyer and how the lawyer was like, well, I just talked to Paul. What are you talking about? And then the third thing that I saw was that Patrick Bateman actually killed everyone, and Harold mistook Paul Allen for someone else. So,
Yeah, because that does happen as well.
right.
There's a lot of ambiguity near the end, especially. Like, what the fuck?
Exactly. Like when he has this freak out and, he's killing cops and he runs to his office, and the confession, like all of it is just, that was the moment where I'm like, I was trying to like overanalyze and figure out the movie. But if you haven't seen this movie, I would almost recommend just don't take anything at face value. Just like, or I mean, take everything at face value. Don't like try to really dive in, because I don't think it's not like a deep film, I don't think. It's mostly just, honestly, like next time I watch it, I'm gonna just watch it as a comedy, and I'm gonna go in with that this is just a funny movie, an effed up funny movie, but a comedy nonetheless to a certain extent.
Yeah, the one thing also kind of
I think
going
it's
on,
mostly fantasy, in my
yeah,
opinion.
kind of going on to what you're saying. Like, that's the one thing that's like super weird is like when he's like, "You're my lawyer, dude." Like, don't you know who I like? I'm like, what is going on here? Like,
It was
like,
confusing.
but
And
Andrew,
conversation with his lawyer.
what are your thoughts? Do you think there's any certain scenes that are real or not real, or
I mean, I think I kind of have the same thought process of John on this, where I think the only one that I could see being fake is the Paul Allen one. Just because the other part is like after he gets him, he's like dragging this like bloody thing down the stairs and like making this huge blood trail all the way to a taxi, and then he throws it in a taxi. Like I don't even understand how like nobody would notice that. And like he gets stopped by some people talking to him. He's got like this body in a
bloody
bag that's just
bag?
like dripping. Like that's what makes me think that it's not that's the not real one.
They give it
Yeah.
a look like, what the hell is that?
Wait, so are you guys on the page that like the chainsaw one was real?
I don't think it's real.
I don't know. I feel like those two are the most contested. I feel like the other ones are all pretty believable from how they're presented.
Yeah, to me, I feel like I'm probably on the boat that like none of them are real, because even like the one character that's kind of a constant throughout the whole story is his assistant, and even like I thought that's also a really funny scene. Like, what are your aspirations in life? And he's like getting out like tape. What's the tape for? I need to tape something up later.
Yeah, literally. Duct tape for it. Oh, it's for taping something. Okay.
Are you seeing someone? Maybe. I don't know. Not really.
And then he's like, you should just leave because I might hurt you. And she has the idea like, oh, he doesn't want
Oh yeah.
my feelings. But no, he's like, he has a nail gun to the back of her head.
And he's like sweating bullets sitting there.
So
I wouldn't be
ridiculous.
able to control myself. Something bad would happen.
I love that scene. That's another one of my favorite scenes. Just the whole when he's in his apartment with his secretary, like that was so well done. And it's like that is hilarious too, because just the like comparison between like her thinking he's gonna hurt her feelings, but literally he has a nail gun, of all things, a nail gun to the back of her head. Like it's this movie is bonkers.
The there's the other scene. Oh, I think it'd be really hot if you guys got it on. Like, or well, the other weird thing is like kind of the whole identity thing is like one, the lawyer doesn't know who he is. He confused him for someone else. Even when he's in the meeting, like no one, did you guys notice that most people don't recognize or always confuse him for someone else? And then even like when he picks up the prostitutes, like he's like, call me Paul Allen and you're gonna be Christy or whatever, you know, or
Yeah.
you're gonna be.
When I was watching that, I was like, oh my gosh, is this like his serial killer elaborate way to not get caught and make everyone think that like Paul Allen was a murderer? Because like he he says to call him Paul like
Mhm.
almost every time he is about to kill someone. Um, I thought it was just that, and that he was like trying to cover up his tracks,
Mhm.
but it
That's
just
how
like
I viewed that.
but it just and the fact that like potentially he didn't kill anyone, it's just I don't know. Like I keep like the controller cast John of me really keeps trying to dissect this and like really figure it out, but I don't really think that there's a correct answer necessarily
It's
to
definitely an anomaly of a film, you know, like there's, I think there is a deeper layer like to this film, and there's something going on, but even after, it's not as easy to pick apart. I feel like if there is something going on there, at the very least, I can surmise that at the very least, some of it was in his head. I would probably say all of it was, but there might be something more going on there. But I'm not. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not totally sure. Um, but then, what is it? What do you guys? I was gonna ask. I don't know if you guys knew this, but this was actually the role that got Christian Bale his role as Batman.
really
Uh, yeah, because Christopher Nolan said he like he loves American Psycho, and he saw that movie, and uh, he was like, "This is going to be my Batman. Like, I want this guy to be Batman."
I can't believe that. Like that's so weird to me. I can't believe that he would see Patrick Bateman and be like, "Yep, this is Batman."
This is
And
Batman, the guardian of
because literally,
Gotham.
like Patrick Bateman and like he's just so goofy in this movie, and Batman is so serious. He's literally the polar opposite of this character. But maybe that
Alfred.
Christopher Nolan was like, "Hell yeah, this is Batman," because he can be the polar opposite. I don't know because
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I could kind of see it with like there he's playing a rich, like extravagant, like playboy in both, but and
Oh
they
yeah, that's probably uh the more accurate way of looking at it. Rich playboy guy, because I mean Bruce Wayne's kind of an asshole, especially in the Nolan Batman films. But he does come around.
yeah, especially in Batman Begins, but that's a different review. But I guess kind of going from there, we could probably, you know, um, get into. I don't know if we wanted to talk about any more favorite scenes of ours or anything that we wanted to point out. Honestly, like it's kind of like for me, like redundant because I feel like literally every scene in this movie to me is so memorable. like,
I love his
like
facial routine.
yeah, the facial routine scene has been like parodied by like Margot Robbie. I've seen that. Like there's so many scenes that have become like memes on TikTok. But I guess we can probably honestly from here just go right into our like final thoughts and our like rating. Honestly,
Yeah.
I'll start off. Also like yeah, like I think everyone is does a wonderful job acting in this film. Reese Witherspoon is an interesting addition to it, and I think Jared Leto is also it's like it's really interesting to see some of these actors in their early days, because a lot, all these actors, maybe not Reese Witherspoon. Actually, I think Reese Witherspoon has some TV shows that she's big in right now, like Big Little Lies or something like that. But all these actors are still prominent to this day. So it's crazy seeing them, 20 years, earlier, way younger. And this was Christian Bale's breakout role too, which was quite the breakout role. Favorite scenes, obviously any of the scenes where he's like doing the album reviews, the why are you staring at it, eat it, just even some of this, so many of his just lines, his individual lines are so quotable, like I need to return some videotapes, and like, and just the absurdity of the film, like how it keeps slowly one-upping itself with its absurdity. Like, at first he kills people and it's already like some of his lines are crazy, but then like, there's that scene I didn't even mention where that dude comes out and shows him his new business card, and literally that makes him go to the restroom and like is about to strangle this dude for the business card, and then he thinks that he's trying to like hit on him, and then Patrick Bateman starts like sweating.
That too.
But honestly, like Patrick Bateman is one of like the most interesting characters in cinema history to me. Like, he's just such a psychopath, but like there's something that you're not on his side, but like I don't even know how to describe it. He's such an engaging character. Maybe that's the best way to put him. He's not, it's kind of like the Joker, like you just can't get your eyes off of him, but you're not like rooting for him or anything like that.
It kind of reminds me of the new Joker film a little bit.
Yeah, honestly, I was thinking that too. And he's a total scumbag of a character. I mean, like that scene of him killing that dude in the alleyway, I feel like that's there just to like get everyone on the idea of like this dude is not a funny, lovable dude, like he's a piece of shit. But honestly, like I love this movie more and more every time I watch it. It's gone from not being sure how I felt about it to really, really enjoying it for what it is now. And the only con I would honestly say about the movie is like, I think near the end, I think it escalates kind of absurdly, like, how he's just going around and just shooting people, and every single person he sees, he just shoots them, and he's just
killed 40 people.
Yeah. And I think like some of the end, I wish it like, I'm okay with ambiguity. I just wish maybe it kind of explain things a little bit more. There's a lot to leave to interpretation. I mean, the whole film can be open to interpretation, honestly. I wish there was a little bit more of a concreteness to that. So it's really kind of like the end. I feel like it kind of just, to me, it like rushes to a conclusion really fast, because before that, it really is kind of just a random series of events. And then that final rampage is just shooting fucking people and like loses his goddamn mind. But honestly, yeah, like I said, this movie is one of the most rewatchable films that I've seen. It's honestly probably like, it is a cult classic. I don't have to say that. It is. And honestly, I enjoy this movie more and more every time I watch it. And this is an outstanding performance by Christian Bale, which is how deranged this guy is. And it gives a relatable but also like deranged view of this man who's like this corporate cocksucker essentially. But he's got this crazy side to him that honestly maybe is a little bit relatable, not relatable, but like you could see happening maybe up until like the very end where he's running around with a chainsaw and shit. But honestly, one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. I honestly really, really love this film. I would give it a 9 out of 10.
Damn. Well, I'll go ahead and give my kind of final thoughts and review. I think first off, like I said before, I would just watch this with the expectation that it's funny, and it's a very ambiguous film. So, you can probably find deeper meaning in it in certain regards, but like, I don't necessarily think that's the point.
Or maybe the best way to watch it.
Right. And I think the point is just to like focus on honestly what's happening right in front of you. And I like it, honestly. I like the fact that like I thought it was the perfect length for what it was.
Yeah, it's only like 100 minutes long. Like it's straight to the point.
It is straight to the point, and it's not like some like great score or like some deep film necessarily. It's very, what you see is what you get, and I like that about it. And I think a lot of the things we review is like very like big hitting, like very like highly regarded films, and this is a highly regarded film, but in a very, very different way. So I like the fact that we're talking about it because it's like totally different than anything we really talk about. Um, it's definitely like one of the most quotable movies I've ever seen. I can't believe that I saw it for the first time this week. Like, I wish I would have seen it before
Yeah,
then.
this definitely seems like a movie that you would have seen before.
Right.
Specifically you.
Seems like a John movie.
I don't know what that means, but I wish I would have seen it a couple of times though, before talking about it. But after like looking up on, like reading up on it and stuff, I'm glad that it is more of just like a face value kind of movie. At least that's what I got from it. I think I need a little bit of a break from it after watching it though, because it is insane. It's ridiculous. It's bonkers. Any synonym for ridiculous can describe this movie. Uh, but it's hilarious. And I definitely watch it again. I just need some time away from it. Uh, like you said, Ursula, I think one of my main complaints is I do think that it just goes kind of off the handle at the end. And I would have been fine with it just being a collection of random events, but it almost tries to explain itself at the end. And it doesn't do the best job of explaining itself, I feel like. And maybe that's not even quite what it does, but that's what I got from it, is that the ending scenes was trying to explain itself and it just doesn't really do that. But if I were to give it a number rating, I'd probably give it an 8.5. I think it's great. And I think that I'm going to like it a lot after watching it a couple more times after this and just kind of taking it as it is rather than trying to overanalyze everything that's happening in it.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, when I saw it for the first time, I probably would give it like a 7.5 or 8. So that's like just to give an idea of how my score has jumped.
yeah, I thought it was great. It's hilarious. I would definitely recommend anyone that is uh mature to watch it. Like, I wouldn't be showing this to your kids or anything, but it's hilarious.
Well, I guess I'll give my review then. I thought you were gonna keep talking.
Oh no, sorry.
Yeah. So this is the first time I've watched it as well. I really enjoyed it, and I thought there is a ton of memorable quotes, obviously, and I saw it more of like a comedy film than a horror film or anything. Um, and I do think it's like the perfect length because I feel like if this movie was like 2 hours long, it would just be like too much and it would have like started dragging on. Because by the time it got like towards the end, I was kind of like, man, this movie feels like it's long as hell, but it's like only been like an hour and a half. Um, I would say my critiques of it is that maybe it leaves too much ambiguity. Like I feel like there's not really like a concrete answer as to like if it's fake, if it's real, what's all going on. Also, the cinematography was kind of like meh. I feel like it was just like a very
It's pretty
basically
standard. Yeah.
yeah, just like a very basically shot film. And yeah, like you said, John, there's not really like a memorable score or anything to it. I just think it's like it serves its purpose to be like it feels like it's almost like a parody of like slasher films, like to an extent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I feel like they put this slasher theme in it, but just make it so comedic that it's like a joke, which kind of it makes it feel like a parody of it, which is fine. That's not like a con, I'd say. I think that's actually pretty funny. But I think my rating, I'd just give it an 8 out of 10. Which is, still very good. I like John said, I probably won't watch it for a while again, but I mean it's a funny movie. I'm sure we'll be quoting it internally for quite a while now. I mean, because we have this morning already. So yeah, so an 8 out of 10 is my score for American Cycle.
Yeah, and that brings the overall controller cast score to an 8.5 out of 10. So there you go. That's our take on American Psycho. Now, as always, we have to go return some videotapes. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll be back next week for a Spider-Man No Way Home motherfucking spoiler review. We're gonna get into the fucking nitty-gritty. We're gonna be talking about all of it. We're gonna be dissecting everyone's asshole. But it'll be a good time. So I'm excited for that episode, and probably most hyped film of the year. So keep be tuned in for that one. That's Ursula signing out. Thanks everyone.
John signing out. Can't wait to see you guys next week.
Andrew signing off.